Okay. Hey, Jay's in the building too. Cool, cool, cool. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. All right. So today we'll be discussing and debating a friend, associate of mine, on John chapter 8, verses 31 to 47, where Jesus pronounces that seeking to kill him is from Satan, and that those who would try to do so are, in fact, um, called by Jesus children of Satan. And so I've got two buddies. Jay just joined. I'm gonna add you both to the stage right
See,
now.
I'm spectating right now. I'm just spectating.
Okay, you could keep yourself there if you want. You can just mute up. That way, it's not interrupting it. You feel free to chime in when you want
What's
to.
up, brother Lou? No, I'm
Yeah,
not chiming in. I'm gonna let Lou handle this. I'm out of this one.
all good, all good. If you want, you can even moderate, man, and just try to
No, I don't want to have no part in it. I've
Oh,
been
you
doing it
just
with
okay? You
Jesus.
just spectating. Cool, cool, cool. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. All right. So that's the topic that I chose today, and I guess my thing that I would present to Lou is why do you choose to be Christian, knowing that it is a religion that promotes the killing of Jesus and the murder of Jesus, when Jesus said seeking to kill him within these verses, and we can break them down, but the fact that he says it within these verses, um, why do you choose to be Christian when these verses are uh, showing us that that is actually against what Jesus wanted?
Well, your interpretation of John chapter 8 is, I would say, again, exhibiting a straw man logical fallacy.
Okay. Go ahead and keep speaking. I'm going to pull up on screens for those who view this video later. They'll see it as well. So you can keep speaking and explain. I'm just going to pull it.
Well, go ahead and handle what you got to handle. That way I have your full undivided attention and you're not doing two things at the same time, because I really need you to focus on my extent of the debate.
Okay. I appreciate that. All right, bear with me here. I'm just opening up another tab.
Yeah, and while you do that, can you just kind of what exactly is what is the claim you're making, first of all? And then I know you have a question, why do I choose to be Christian despite something in John? What is your claim about John exactly? What is your claim about John chapter 8 that causes discrepancies within Christianity?
Well, my claim would be that according to the scripture itself, Christianity teaches opposite of what the main character, in this case Jesus, would have been telling people overall, in terms of who he was, why he came, and what his mission was. So I'm
Teaches opposite of what Jesus would have been telling people.
Yeah, that basically Christianity aligns more with what Jesus labeled it according to the scripture.
You've got to be clear with your words here, man, because it's just very obscure, the points you're making. I don't even know what claim you're making.
The claim that
you could be a little more just kind of direct.
The claim that Jesus said those who seek to kill him are of Satan.
Okay.
And so my question to you was, why follow a religion that teaches that killing him is a main component of even having or even sorry, give me a second. Let me get back to the video. Why follow a religion, right, that would promote killing him as one of the tenets of the faith and as a way of salvation, if he, in fact, according to the scripture, says that that very act, seeking to do so from those people, is in fact is from Satan?
Okay, you have a very flawed argument, and I'm going to explain exactly how it's flawed. So, first of all, This is a logical fallacy called false equivalence. And you're also using a bit of a straw man. So you're equating two things. Number one, that seeking to murder Jesus, you're equating seeking to murder Jesus out of hatred, which he says those who would kill him are of the devil, of hatred, kind of synonymous. And you're equating that with believing Jesus willingly gave his life. But those are not the same, right? Jesus says, "You seek to kill me," in John chapter 8, verse 40, right? So he's condemning the malicious intent, the rejection of God. He's condemning the hatred of truth. And Christian belief says that Jesus willingly gave his life, right? So his death was foreknown. It was already prophesized. It was already embraced. So Jesus, in his existence, he removes murder intent from the equation. He says, "No one takes my life from me. I lay it down of my own accord." This is in John chapter 10, verse 18, right? So
Yeah.
murder does not equal self-sacrifice. Hatred does not equal love. And rebellion doesn't equal obedience. And you're conflating the two, and it's a false equivalence. They are not equal. By your logic, Jesus would be condemning his own mission, and he would have no purpose on earth. By your logic, the crucifixion was a victory for Satan. By your logic, Jesus is calling obedience to God satanic. So your argument collapses under its own weight. It just doesn't make sense. You're creating a false equivalence. The actual position of Christianity is killing Jesus was a sin. Okay, Christians are not for the murder of Jesus. They do not support killing Jesus. Christianity teaches that humans are guilty. Humans are guilty for this like ultimate sin. Okay, not praised. And God overcame evil with good, because the murder itself became salvation. It was not murder. He gave his life on his own accord. Jesus said that. He says, again, "No one takes my life away from me. I lay it down of my own accord."
He said, yeah, he said, "No man." So I guess I would ask you then, because you're kind of conflating the context there when you quote chapter 10, verse 18. You're missing the fact that he's explaining to the disciples that like the concept of him having his own power to do so, not that it was an act that he was going to complete. If you actually read in context what he's saying in chapter 10, it's like saying like that's why he says no man can do it. But if you look at the narrative, a bunch of men did it, so it would be opposite of what he was saying, which is what I was saying in the beginning. Well, I guess what I would ask you is, because you said something key. You said God. He was fulfilling God's purpose, right? Or you said something along those lines.
No, I said that your argument commits a false equivalence. Jesus condemned those who sought to murder him out of hatred. Christianity teaches that killing Jesus was a sin, and that Jesus willingly laid down his own life. Murder and voluntary sacrifice are not the same thing. If believing Jesus chose the cross makes someone of Satan, then Jesus himself would be guilty, and that doesn't make any sense. You're confusing murder with self-sacrifice, and that is a false equivalence. It is a logical fallacy.
Right,
So
right.
your
So
argument
then we would
cannot
have to.
stand on itself.
Okay, so then we would have to prove that this is self-sacrifice, and this is something that everyone was waiting on, right? That everyone before Jesus, who had this quote unquote prophecy that Jesus was supposed to come, knew that when he came, that he would have to die. So we would have to prove that this is prophecy. And you can't find that anywhere in the scripture that this is prophecy. You can allude to it, but there's no direct, explicit statement or verses in the Bible prior to Jesus's advent where it said that it's prophecy that he's going to die for the sins of humanity. And that's the purpose of him being born. As a matter of fact, I have Jesus saying the exact opposite in John chapter 18, verse 37. If you like, we can go there and we can come back to this one. Let me go to my screen. I want to show you. I want to
Okay.
show you
Well, let me first refute your point because you're wrong. You're incorrect.
well, I have to pull up the verse first. Let me pull up the verse first.
Well, but you
John
mentioned
18.
that there was no prophecy, and
John,
there is explicit prophecy.
give me a second. Give me a second.
There is, you are incorrect that there's no explicit prophecy that prophesizes Jesus's coming and his self-sacrifice. There is. It is in the Bible. It is in. Do you want me to go there and show it to you?
Well, where are you getting this prophecy from? We have to analyze where the information is coming from.
Okay, go to Isaiah 53.
Well,
this was written 700 years before Jesus.
We'll go to, hold on, because we'll break down Isaiah 53. Well, let's read the verse that I spoke of first, and then let's jump to Isaiah 53.
Okay, what claim are you trying to make, or what counterclaim are you trying to disprove?
Well, it's not necessarily a counterclaim. This is in line with what my initial claim was. So what I'm saying to you is, if that was in fact right, we would have to prove that there's prophecy, and I know you want to do that with Isaiah chapter 53, but the one that I quoted just before you mentioned Isaiah clearly shows that Jesus spoke about the purpose as to why he was born, and his coming had nothing to do, according to his words and how he signified his death in chapter 12, chapter 18, and chapter 21. I'm only showing chapter 18 right now, verse 37. Let me zoom in for you. But according to those chapters, he signified his own death. I'm sorry. Give me a second. This thing is tripping out on me. There we go. Right? So if we go to 37, I don't know if you guys can see that from here. Right? Now he's talking to Pontius Pilate here. And this is when Pontius Pilate is asking him basically who he is, right? He said, "Are you a king of the Jews?" Jesus answered him, saying, sayest thou this of thyself, or did others tell it of thee? Pilate answered, "Am I a Jew? Thine own nation and chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world." So basically that's a no. He's not king of the Jews. "If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews." Already in disagreement. Not be delivered to the Jews, the ones who were what? About to kill him. Let's keep reading. "But now is my kingdom not from hence." Pilate therefore said unto him, "Art thou a king then?" Jesus answered, "Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. And everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice." Now, what I'm going to say before you go to Isaiah, right? What I'm going to say is, if in this quote here, and there's many of these like this, if this is Jesus saying the reason he came and was born was to bear witness to the truth, you would have to find Jesus's words laid down as a doctrine of belief and prophecy that he in fact was supposed to die for the sins of humanity. I yield the floor.
I mean, you dude, you have to work on making more cogent points with
I made a point. I used Jesus's words. We can go to your Isaiah if you like. I can go there for you if you need it on screen.
The point you just made is completely null. I don't know how you're making that stretch. Your interpretation of Jesus's conversation with Pontius Pilate
That's exactly what it is.
It is a Bikram yoga stretch that you're making.
No,
okay.
It's not.
Okay, what exactly is your point? That because Jesus said what, he means what? What exactly is your claim? Give it to me just straightforward.
My claim is that if we're going to follow the tenets of the Christian faith versus the things Jesus actually said, they're in direct contradiction. If you're telling me that it was Jesus's purpose and God's plan through prophecy that he should die for the sins of humanity, Jesus would not be speaking against it by saying, I was born to bear witness to the truth. He would have said, I was born to die for the sins of humanity. And the truth of Jesus's birth and coming was not to die for the sins of humanity. That was a later rendition that came in with men. Now I've pulled up Isaiah 53 for you. What did you want to explain from there to prove the opposite of what I'm saying?
Dude, I'm not going to go to Isaiah without addressing the point you just made. The fallacy you're doing now, okay, I'm going to identify the new fallacy you're doing, because you're doing another logical fallacy with your interpretation of Pontius Pilate and Jesus. It is called a non sequitur, okay?
What?
It's a conclusion that doesn't follow. It's basically, you're making an argument from silence. It's like not saying everything means you're denying something. So Jesus said one reason for his coming, therefore no other reason exists. You cannot make that.
That wasn't my claim.
You cannot make that argument just because
I didn't make that argument.
Just because Jesus did not tell Pontius Pilate explicitly, hey, I came here to die for the sins of humanity. It's all planned, and I will willingly give my life. No one will murder me. It's a self-sacrifice. You're saying because he did not explicitly say that, no other reason for Jesus's purpose on earth exists.
Well, when
so
someone
Pilate,
uses the phrase,
hold on, because I did not interrupt
phrase,
you. I did not interrupt you, right?
Go ahead.
So Pilate asks, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answers, "My kingdom is not of this world. For this reason I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth." Correct?
Yes. When someone uses the phrase "to this end," that's what that means.
Okay. And for you to, you always say context matters, and to go off context. Pilate is asked, if the context here, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. Pilate is asking about political rebellion. He is basically interrogating. He is questioning Jesus about accusations of political rebellion. Jesus clarifies his kingdom is spiritual, not military. So he is not giving a full theology of salvation in a Roman trial. In a Roman trial, Jesus would not be, explaining the self-sacrifice prophecy to Pontius Pilate. It would be absurdly out of place for him to go into that topic during this sort of government interrogation. Elsewhere you can look at John 18. Jesus explicitly he states his death's purpose. Jesus says plainly, the Son of Man came to give his life as ransom for many. Okay. Jesus said, this is my blood.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Who he said ransom for many? Who said that?
Jesus said, this is now, I'm looking in the Gospel of Mark. The Son of Man came to give his life as a ransom for many. I'm looking at the Gospel of John, chapter 10. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. I'm looking at John chapter 12. For this purpose I came to this hour. So you cannot erase explicit statements like the ones I just gave with a selective quote that you're choosing in Pontius Pilate in order to sort of create this non sequitur. It's not a strong argument you're making.
It's not a non sequitur.
I'm not going to go to Isaiah I'm not going to move on to Isaiah without calling out the logical fallacy of non sequitur you're committing.
Okay.
And I'm going to point out that your argument is plainly weak. It is a weak argument.
It's not a non sequitur, because a non sequitur would have to mean that it's not related to the topic that we're speaking. It's directly related to the topic we're speaking about. And if we actually go back further, it's one of my main points here. If you go back further within the same chapter of John chapter 18, right before Pontius Pilate asks him if he's the king of the Jews, let's go to 28. Then led they Jesus from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment, and it was early, and they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Sorry, but
Wait,
that
hold
thing
on.
might
Slow down, man. Slow down, because now you're shifting
then
gears without any kind of like
hold on.
explanation
I am.
of
I
what
said it's
you're
directly
doing.
related. You're not
So
understanding, but if you listen, you can follow along because this is the same. I haven't changed.
no.
So
You made a claim. I
hold on, bro.
countered
Hold on.
it.
Lulu,
I
hold on.
countered it.
I went quiet and I let you speak. And let's have
But
some.
what claim are you making though? You're not being clear on what you're
I'm
doing.
making the same claim, dude. It's not a new claim to where you're just lost on the subject. Just
Okay,
listen.
so what claim are you making? Just to clarify.
The same claim, dude. It's the same claim. I'm just justifying it
What
with
when you
further
say same
context.
claim, what
Lou,
claim
if
are
you
you
just listen,
making?
you ask me what claim. Let me answer one of your questions, bro. You can't just like try to override me with questions. Let me
But
get out.
it's a
Get
claim,
me
it's
out.
a sentence. You can tell me your claim. What is
Dude,
your claim?
I just said I'm giving you more context on the same verse that I used to make my claim. And if you forgot the claim, then okay, ask me what the claim is. But it's the same claim from the
What is
jump.
it?
When we
What
started,
is it?
that I'm showing you evidence, hence why I'm reading from the Bible.
You're
Showing
showing
you
me
evidence
evidence.
of Jesus and his words, according to the scripture, is opposite the tenets of the Christian faith.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me
I mean,
continue. So what I'm saying here, right? And I'd appreciate all the typing on Google. Like I'm doing this off the top of my dome. I'd appreciate it if you, because the people can hear that when it's recorded.
so
So
it's what,
let me
and I'm
continue reading where
typing,
I
so
left
I
off.
cannot type. Did
I
you
continue
create
reading where I left
rules?
off.
Did you create
No,
rules for the debate?
it's just you say what?
Did you create rules for the debate? No Google, no typing.
No, I'm not saying it's
So
just
I can't.
distracting. I can hear it in the background. It's just distracting from the sound. We can all hear it. And then
I
these
can
points
look.
aren't
Okay,
these
I
points
can
aren't
look.
authentic.
So
These
I
are things
can't
you're
look
typing
up.
into. These points
I
aren't authentic that you're making. You're typing things into Google and reading off of it. That's not authentic debate, man.
I'm typing in the verses that you are saying to go look at. I'm
No,
pulling.
I heard it before in the first response you gave me. You were typing still, as well. But either way, if that's what you're doing, it doesn't matter. Go ahead. I'm just saying it's a little loud in the background, but do you, man?
Dude,
Let me keep reading though and make my point. Let me keep reading and
dude,
make it.
if you're threatened by me using the internet, you need to create rules for the debate and say, okay, no computers allowed. But the
I'm not
underhanded
threatened by it.
comments.
I'm just letting you know, like the typing sound. I can hear you in the background typing, and it's not a legit way to have a debate with someone if you're just typing things into Google and reading off of it, trying to push out certain philosophical phrases on what you think is a fallacy or not. That's not accurate, man.
Dude, if you're mad that I'm calling out the logical fallacies, debate ideas, but don't attack me for using resources that will call out the
I'm not
fallacies.
attacking
Why
you.
don't
I'm
you
just
instead not use logical fallacies? Then that way I wouldn't have to call them out. But
no.
non
I'm not
sequiturs and
attacking
straw
you.
mans and all
This
this
isn't an
stuff.
attack, dude. This is just me saying that if we're going to debate, right, it would behoove
Okay,
you
so you're
not to
feeling a
typing
little
in the
threatened.
background to
That's
try to
kind
get
of weak,
your answers
man. That's
from
kind of
Google.
weak that you. I can't believe you would resort to that. That you would feel. That's a
Okay,
sign
Lou,
that you feel pretty threatened.
now you're stalling, so I won't read. Dude, can I get to the reading and I can prove my point? Or are we gonna just debate on whether or not you feel attacked for me calling you out for typing into Google?
So who attacked first? You attacked
Not
me
an
for
attack. It's not an attack.
typing
Are you typing? You just admitted to doing it. It's not an attack. You just admitted you were typing. How is it an attack if you admitted to it?
because you're making it sound like me typing is somehow cheating or something, right?
Never said that.
So it's
If
the
you're gonna make that claim,
implication.
make sure I say it first. I didn't say it was cheating. I didn't
It's the
say it was
implication, though. You're
okay.
saying like, oh, I'm
Fine,
going off the top of my
fine.
dome, and you're not.
You can
So that way,
you can have that.
I'm authentic, and you're
I'll grant
inauthentic.
you that. You can have
It's
it.
a personal attack.
We move
It's a
forward.
personal attack that
It's
you
not a
made.
personal attack,
Now
dude.
you're no longer debating ideas. You're now saying, well, you're using Google, so therefore you are not
Lou,
authentic, and I am. So what are we
Lou,
debating exactly here?
Lou. Can I move forward with proving my point from the scripture?
I don't know, man. Can you? Like you
All
seem
right.
pretty
I'm gonna
pressed
continue. I'm gonna
that
continue reading. I'm gonna continue reading, okay? Because this will go against what you're saying. Because according to this, the Jews didn't want to kill him, and Pontius Pilate didn't want to kill him, and it signified how Jesus was going to die, according to what this says. So let me read
I
it.
already know that Pontius
It
Pilate
says,
didn't want to
hold
kill
on,
him.
I'm not done. Let me read it. Pilate went out. I'm on 29 right here. Pilate then went out unto them and said, what accusation bring ye against this man? They answered and said unto him, if he were not a malefactor, we would not have delivered him up to thee. Then said Pilate unto him, Take ye him and judge him according to your law. The Jews therefore said unto him, It is not lawful for us to put any man to death. So you can see here, Pontius Pilate didn't want him and the Jews didn't want him. Let me continue. That the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, which he spoke, signifying what death he should die. So look at this. If Pontius Pilate is saying, take him away, and the Jews are saying they can't kill him, what is this saying that Jesus, what is this saying of Jesus that's going to be fulfilled, that he spoke, which would signify his death, if they both are refusing to kill him? And then if you continue onward, he talks about what his purpose for coming to this world was. What was Jesus's words in verse 32? That the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, because you said you didn't want to go to Isaiah chapter 53. So answer that question. That the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, which he spoke, signifying what death he should die. That's the first. That's the second time he signified his death. By the way, the first time was in John chapter 12.
Okay, so you're saying here. Let me kind of recap what you're arguing. It's almost ridiculous you're making these arguments because they're.
I'm asking you a question. I didn't make an argument.
Okay, so I let you finish. I just tried not to interrupt. I'm gonna try to finish, even though you might interrupt. Okay, let me kind of summarize what you're arguing. Number one, Pontius Pilate initially refuses to execute Jesus and doesn't want to execute him. You're saying the Jewish leaders also said they lacked authority to execute him. So therefore, Jesus's purpose was not to die or give his life. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I didn't say they lacked authority. What I read.
Semantics, dude. Semantics. Okay. How do you want me to phrase it? How do you want me to phrase it that it makes sense for you?
Phrase it the way it's read in the book, like I read, bro. That's the problem with Christians. Y'all want to pick and choose how to define something.
More personal attacks.
Okay. Like it's very precise. What is written right there? I didn't rephrase it.
If you can try to debate without resorting to personal attacks,
you asked me a
question.
question.
We get a lot farther. But if you keep going personal attacks,
you asked me a question.
That's not how you hold a debate.
It's not a personal attack. What I'm saying
it is.
You asked me how would I want you to read it? Here, let me get on screen so you can see my face. You know, look.
Okay.
You asked me, right? You asked me how would you want me to have you read it?
Yeah, because I'm summarizing your argument,
Bible,
and you're saying it's
not
good enough.
In the Bible on the screen.
I'm summarizing your argument, and you're saying, "Oh, this word wasn't. I didn't use exactly that word." I'm like, okay, so then you say it how you.
That was what I was saying, and I said no because I didn't say they didn't have the authority.
Let me read. It's called a summary, right? You know what a summary is? A summary is a paraphrasing of a text or message. So I am paraphrasing your argument, so I understand what I'm arguing.
If you want to summarize, then say you're summarizing.
If you can give me a second to summarize and tell me if it's correct.
I'm just answering your question, dude. Lou, I'm just answering your question. Look, relax.
Okay,
man.
Number one.
Ask me the question if I said that. I said no, I did not use the word authority. It's very simple. I'm not arguing. I'm not changing up the words. I just said, and then you asked me.
I'm not asking if you use the exact word.
I said, well, read it based on what it says in the scripture. That's it, man.
Number one.
If you want to summarize, then summarize what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Number one, Pilate initially refused to execute Jesus, correct?
Yes.
Number two, the Jewish leaders said, I'm trying to phrase this so you don't like pick a word and feel it.
Right on the screen,
like, huh?
You want me to zoom in more?
The Jews therefore said, it is not lawful for us to put any man to death. So the Jews said they lacked authority. That is another way of saying they lacked authority to execute Jesus. That's your second point, correct?
No.
Okay, tell me how to say it.
Because to say that they lacked authority, it's against their law to do it because the Passover is approaching. It's Passover and the Sabbath is approaching. They can't do it during that time.
I see what you want me to do. Okay, I will change that word. The Jews, Pontius Pilate initially refused to execute Jesus. The Jews said it was not lawful to execute Jesus, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then your third point is that, therefore, as a result, that these two groups did not want to execute him, Jesus' purpose on earth was not to die or give his life, correct?
No, because with me
Okay.
quoting with me quoting this, I asked a question following verse 32, where it says, I'll read it again.
I am not looking for a
That
question. I'm
that the
looking for your
saying of
claim.
Jesus, no, because you asked me a question and I said no, so I'm rephrasing what it is. That the saying of Jesus might be fulfilled, which he spoke, signifying what death he should die, what death he should die, what death he should die, not the one you think was written for him, the death he should die. Now,
Okay,
I'm
so
asking my question was, which I'll repeat it again. If this is the case, now you can go to Isaiah 50, wherever you want to go to explain this. What I'm asking you is, if Jesus spoke something that would be fulfilled, where it would signify the way he should die, what were those sayings? Because here Pontius Pilate said no, and the Jews said no.
yeah. So Pontius Pilate said no, and the Jews said no. Therefore, it was not prophecy for Jesus to die by man. It was not. It was not his purpose. It was not his. It was not God's plan. Correct.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. As you
Okay.
quoted, what was it? John
Okay.
chapter 10, verse
Okay.
18. He said, no man. So you're inconsistent with what you said. No man would put him to death. So if you're going to continue to explain the Christian tenet that Jesus died on the cross by way of being murdered by men, then that's opposite of what you're saying, which would be a contradiction, which would prove my point, which is my main claim for this whole thing: the contradicting side versus Christianity versus the actual Bible.
Dude, you've gotta like just kind of let me summarize your point and retort it. Every time you keep adding more of these tangents, you convolute the argument and we get very muddled and confused.
Bro, how is it
We gotta
muddled?
go,
You're asking me questions.
simple
You said
building blocks,
correct.
bro.
You asked me, and I'm answering.
We gotta do simple building blocks instead of going on these long
What's wrong with you?
tangents. You go on very long tangents and you convolute the argument.
It's
You
not
have to
convoluted. What are you talking about?
have to go slow so that we understand exactly what you're saying.
No, I have to go slow for you,
I'm
but it's
trying to
pretty
corner
clear
your
what I'm saying.
argument, but then you kind of
It's name.
but then you squirm and you flee with these tangents. You squirm around and run away with your tangents. I'm trying to corner your argument. Stop running away.
Okay, Lou, if
Stop
you don't
running
understand
away.
what I'm saying, you can just ask me to keep it short.
I understand what you're saying. You're just running away, though. You're fleeing.
Where
because
am I
you're
running
scared.
from? My main claim was reasserted, and you asked me right after you finished what you were saying. You said correct, and I simply answered, and I reiterated my
And
main
it's yes
point
or
of
no.
how
It
it
is
needs to
yes.
connect into
When
what
I
I'm
say
saying.
correct, it is yes or no.
It's not a yes or no.
It is yes or no.
No,
I
it's
am
not.
summarizing, and you have to tell me, yes, that's an accurate summary, or no, that is an inaccurate summary. I'm not asking you for a long, convoluted tangent that then makes me have to summarize
It's not
more.
a yes or no because I asked you the question initially. Are you just refusing not to answer the question? Is what you're saying?
I am summarizing your argument, but you do not allow me to because you're scared.
There's
You are running away.
there's no argument because I haven't made a conclusion because you have yet to answer my question, which is what was Jesus' sayings about how he should die? You have yet to answer that.
You have yet to allow me to speak because you interrupt me every time.
Okay, I'll mute up.
Your argument, the summary of your argument is that number one, Pilate initially refused to execute Jesus. Number two, the Jews said it was unlawful to kill Jesus. And your third point, which is your synthesis of this thesis and antithesis, your synthesis is to make the claim, therefore, since both parties, the Romans and the Jews, refused to execute Jesus, for their own reasons, that it then demonstrates that it was not the purpose of God for Jesus to die and give his life. That is your argument. That is what you're saying. So now I'm going to refute it. I'm going to show why it doesn't make any logical sense, and I'm going to do so without being interrupted. You're doing a category. This is, by the way, this is a non sequitur, pure non sequitur. Your conclusion does not logically follow. Whether people hesitate or delay or argue over anything says nothing about God's purpose or Jesus's intent. What the Romans say, what the Jews say, has nothing to do with God's purpose or Jesus's intent. These are humans, and then you have God. You are conflating the two, and it has no jurisdiction. Your secondary fallacy is you're confusing human reluctance, Pontius Pilate's reluctance to execute Jesus, the Jews' reluctance to execute Jesus. You're confusing that. You're confusing human reluctance, human hesitation with divine intent. Again, conflating humans with God. You're conflating the both, and it's a huge confusion, a huge fallacy you're making. It's a category error. You are committing an error between separate categories. Human legal procedure does not equal a divine mission. A temporary refusal to kill somebody does not equal the ultimate outcome. You're conflating both. By your logic, any prophet who was opposed but later killed was never meant to die. By your logic, any attempt to rescue negates destiny, right? It's irrational. You're making an irrational argument. Your argument fails if you look at the text itself. If you look at John chapter 18, okay, John chapter 18 verse 32, quote, "This happened so that the words Jesus had spoken, indicating the kind of death he was going to die, would be fulfilled." Directly contradicts your claim. The dispute serves the prophecy. This dispute serves the prophecy. It does not negate it. Okay. Pilate's refusal does not mean Jesus wouldn't die. Pilate says, like you said, take him and judge him according to your law. But Pilate later sentences him to death. The Roman crucifixion followed. Pilate authorized the execution. So just because he refused in the beginning does not equal the final decision. The final decision was to execute. So you're presenting a false premise. Your premise is false to begin with. Okay? Jesus has remained in control the entire time. He tells Pilate in John chapter 19, verse 11, "You would have no authority over me at all unless it had been given to you from above." This statement directly destroys your argument. I mean, completely decimates your argument, because Pilate is not deciding Jesus' fate independently. God is. Authority comes from God. The death was permitted. It was not accidental. Okay? So I can go on. There's a lot more, but I feel like I've taken a lot of time. I mean, for you to, I will leave you the floor, man.
Okay. So first things first, the way I want to address this is you have to understand that the verse we're in, this isn't, or the verses, I should say, that we're in right now, this actually wasn't the verses I started with. The verses I started with was the ones that were rooted in my claim. This was an example to how I was showing you there is text. This isn't the only one, by the way. So for you to build as if this is my antithesis, right? Or whatever you said, right? For you to build off of that shows that you don't understand the flow of this conversation. For you to sit here and say, right? For you to sit here and say that this is like my main point, it shows me the intellect and how you're not following what is being said. The main point, Lou, right? The main point, right? Because you can Google, you can look up all these things of how to explain things, right? My main point is not that, oh, Pontius Pilate said he couldn't kill him. The Jews said he couldn't kill him. this explains why Jesus didn't die for the sins of humanity. I never said that. Do I believe it? Obviously. But I never said that. I'm using it as another point, as another piece of evidence, as another example to my main point. My main piece of evidence was, again, the way I even titled this to you, and I even said to you in the Instagram chat what we were going to discuss, which was John chapter 8, verses 31 through 47. I came here to show you that surrounding Jesus's death, that there was an example being made where the Jews didn't want to kill him, so they gave him to Pontius Pilate because it was unlawful for them to do so. And Pontius Pilate said, do it according to your law. Then it says right after that, this is what Jesus spoke. It says that the words of Jesus, that the sayings of Jesus might be fulfilled. Something was fulfilled just then, which he spoke, signifying what death he should die. That's what's on this screen right now. I asked you a question relating to that so that we can continue into my main point, which is that seeking to kill Jesus and following a religion thereof would be considered what Jesus, according to the text, considers it of Satan. Now, I'm showing you this verse here to prove that. This isn't my main, this is like the way you worded it, how you built your argument off of it. It's not my main point. It is an example to solidify my main point, which was Christianity versus the Bible are contradicting each other. The tenets of Christianity contradicts the words and the things that Jesus said. I have another example for you as well. Now, I'll show you that example. Right? Let's go here. We're going to go back to John, but it's going to be chapter 12. Right? And we're going to start at 30, I think it's 31. Let me zoom in here so you can all see. And this is just an example. Don't build off of this as if this is my entire argument. I'm not taking things in out of context. I'm not taking them compartmentalized. Okay? We're doing this as a whole. These are just examples to prove my main point. Understand that. And you have to address these things. You can't just argue about how you think I'm arguing the point. You have to address what's being said because this is the book that you abide by. And if it's the book that you abide by, then can you see that? I highlighted it. If this is the book that you abide by, then you have to look at what it says. Does that align with Christian teaching? Now we'll read this one. Does this align with the Christian tenet? Listen to this. Let's go back a little bit. Now is my soul troubled. Oh, Jesus is troubled for fulfilling what he was prophesied according to Christians to do. He's troubled by it? Oh, that doesn't make any sense. What shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. So Jesus, right? You made an argument earlier that this Jesus would be going against God by going against prophecy if what I was arguing was the case. You said it's not, but he's going against it right here. Let's read. Father, save me from this hour. Why is Jesus trying to ask and give prayer to the Father for something that was prophesied to happen? That doesn't make any sense. And if it was prophesied, he's a prophet. He knew it. Why would he ask to be saved for something he knew was already going to happen? But for this cause came I into this hour. Father, glorify thy name. Then came there a voice from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people, therefore, that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said, an angel spake to him. So according to the people and the witnesses, and according to what is said here, Jesus had his prayer answered that he should glorify the Father's name and that the Father should save him. It's answered. I have both glorified it, speaking about the past, and I will glorify it again. Jesus answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world, that's Satan, be cast out. And I, separated, because if it's talking about Jesus' death, if you want to say the prince of the world is Jesus, it's not. The prince of this world be cast out, and I, a separation right here. This isn't Jesus, the prince of the world, casting out. This is not Jesus dying on the cross. Look, and I, in verse 32, and I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. This he said, signifying what death he should die. He said, lifted up from the earth will draw all men unto me. This he said, signifying what death he should die. I'm going to show you another one just to prove my point, just to lay it in, right? According to the scripture. We have another one where Jesus is signifying his death. Let's read this. Now, this is in the end of John where he's talking to Peter. This is supposedly after the supposed resurrection. They're all together or whatever. Peter and some of the disciples are there with him, right? We're starting at 18. He says, verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself and walkest whither thou wouldst, right? But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hand, and another shall gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldst not. This he spake, signifying by what death he should glorify God. Now, I've explained to Jay in the past, I had to take him off screen because he's over there putting up hand signs and stuff. All right, I'll put him back on.
By the
I've
way,
explained to him in the past. Let me finish.
just say one thing. You've been making a point now for 7 minutes. I'm just going to give you that.
Let me finish.
You've been making a point for
It is
7 minutes.
it is what it is. You can have 7 minutes. You can have 10. I don't care. It is what it is. I'm saying what I'm saying, and it's all part of the same thing. Don't try to compartmentalize what I'm saying. It's all to prove the same point that, guess what? This is opposite of what the tenets of the Christian faith teaches. So let me continue. So into this, Jesus is signifying his own death again. But this is John chapter 21. This is, according to the narrative, after the supposed resurrection. How is Jesus signifying if his death and resurrection had already taken place at this point in chapter 21? Well, some would say, oh, well, he's talking about Peter's death. He's not talking about Peter's death because, one, Peter's death is not recorded in the scripture. Two, the ones who do speak about it, most Christians and Catholics, would say that Peter died on an upside down cross because he, according to their narrative, their history, he said that he did not feel worthy to die like Christ. If Peter died on an upside down cross, which today is associated with Satanism, and in the scripture, there is recorded in the scripture, Jesus, according to the narrative, calling Peter Satan for the things that he was doing, and Peter betrayed him. You have to reconcile with why Jesus is speaking about how to glorify God by way of signifying his death. It says, and I'm running one more time, the last one, this spake he, signifying, that means it's a sign, right? So Jesus was speaking in a parable, signifying by what death he should glorify God. Now he's speaking of old age and young age. So what do you think that means? Jesus obviously didn't die at young age, where he would have to be carried around by somebody else. So what is this referring to? It have to be old age, which would show and be more of an implication that Jesus did not die on the cross. I have many more, but I'll yield the floor for this. Lou, you can go ahead. I'm yielding the floor to you. You can go ahead and respond if you're still there. I think maybe he's having a technical difficulty. Let's see. Looks like Wi-Fi or something. Hey guys, let me know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with Lou, man. I think he has some technical difficulties, bro. Looks like his screen was loading or something.
Yeah, it kicked me out too.
Yeah, that was weird. Hey, Lou, if you can hear us, man, go ahead and go out and come back in, man. Oh, there he is. There he is. I hope you heard the rest of what I was saying, man, but I was yielding the floor to you if you want, and you can go ahead and respond.
See, this is the hard part about debating with you because you'll speak for literally you went for 11 minutes right there, and now you expect me to like come back and retort. That's not typically how debates work. It's usually more. Oh, okay, just cut me
You
off.
said
Go
in the
ahead.
beginning.
Okay.
I didn't make any. You're not addressing my point, so I will interrupt you on my channel. You're not addressing what I was saying. It doesn't matter how long. It doesn't matter how long I was
So
going.
you could go 11 minutes, and
No,
then
it
when
doesn't
I
matter
talk,
how
I
long.
can get
If you want
interrupted.
11 minutes, ask for 11 minutes.
Wow.
Hey, bro, you went a little long.
Wow, because it's your channel.
It's simple. I'm not against it. I'm not against it, Lou. What I'm saying to you
Damn,
is
man,
kind of
you
addressing
really
that,
do
because like you
argue
said
in
in the
bad
beginning,
faith, dude.
you
I
even
don't know. I
mentioned
don't
it.
think
Hey,
you know
you
how
even
to
mentioned. You
debate.
said, hey, did you make any rules? If there's
I
no
don't think
rules,
you
man,
know
why
how
are
to
you
debate
defending
though. But there's etiquette though. There's debate etiquette. You're just
etiquette? What are you talking
you're
about?
breaking the most basic common out rules of debate. Like you're not supposed
Dude,
to
you're on
go
my
on a
channel, bro.
long-winded tangent for 11 minutes, and then
Who
when I
cares? I
start
can mute
talking,
you and keep
oh, okay,
talking.
just interrupt
I
me.
can
Okay.
delete you and keep talking. Who cares?
Delete me
Can you
then.
address my
I
point?
don't care if you delete me.
Can you address my
Delete
point?
me, please. I'm actually bored. You do
I
not
didn't
know
say
how
I
to
would. I said
debate.
I
You
could.
don't know
This
how
is
to
my
argue.
channel. Who cares how long I'm going? I will give you the same grace as well. I muted up so
You
you can
do
talk.
not give me the same grace. You
Oh my
interrupt
God.
me when I mute myself. You
When
interrupt me.
you
I went for
address the
less
point,
than a minute.
when you address what I was saying
Less than
in
a
response,
minute.
you can, okay, you want to set some ground rules since you're acting like a baby when it comes to this stuff?
Oh, so that and then you attack me personally
No,
in
that
this
is an attack.
debate.
You're acting like a child right now, bro.
Okay, fourth time. I don't
All right,
think you know how to debate, man.
here.
You don't
I don't
debate
think
like
you do
someone
either
who
because you
calls
haven't
himself
addressed a
the
single
Messiah.
thing I was talking about. You haven't addressed a single thing. You didn't answer my initial question about what Jesus was fulfilling when he spoke. You didn't
Dude,
answer
you
that.
just went for 12 minutes
You haven't addressed my
and
point.
you
You
don't
try to
let
ask
me.
what my
You
initial
interrupt
point,
me.
which was
I
John chapter
can't.
8, verses 31 to
I
47.
literally can't.
You haven't addressed anything I've been saying. So you want to talk about etiquette? You haven't addressed a single thing that I've mentioned to you. You just keep talking
Because
about
you
how I'm
interrupt
debating.
me.
You keep talking about non sequitur,
I
how I'm
can't if
making an
you
argument.
interrupt me.
You're not really focusing on anything I'm actually saying as a whole. You're taking little things of what I say and trying to make broader conclusions about it and argue against conclusions you're making up in your mind. That I
No,
haven't
I'm
repeated on.
meticulously picking apart your arguments because I'm destroying you and you can't stand it.
Destroying me. We all heard you typing and reading off Google earlier, dude.
You
Talking about
cannot stand the fact
back
that
and forth on the screen. I'm doing off the top of my dome, bro. What are you talking about? I'm not losing it.
I'm looking at the same exact thing you're looking at. It's right here. This is what I'm typing. There's no Google. It's literally John 8:31. I've been looking at it the whole time.
Okay.
If I'm
Can
typing,
you
I'm
address
typing
what I
in
was saying?
Bible verses, trying to find what you're talking about, and then you say, "Oh, the typing is distracting me. Oh, you're a baby. Oh, you're a child. Oh, all you Christians are the." It's like I don't think you really have. You ever had like a formal debate before? I was in debate club. Have you ever been in a formal debate?
Look, are you gonna answer the
No
or
answer.
respond?
Okay.
Are you gonna respond to?
Are you gonna interrupt me?
I'm gonna interrupt you if you're gonna sit here and
Okay,
talk about
so
the
then
way.
I'm not gonna
Listen.
respond.
If you're going to sit here and
Then I
try to
am not
debate
gonna
me on the
respond.
way I'm debating, I
It's
will interrupt you
not
because you're not
fair that
responding
you
to
can
the
go for
material.
12 minutes uninterrupted,
You can
but
have that.
then
I said
you
it
can
3 times
interrupt
already.
me.
You can
It's
have 15
not
minutes.
fair.
You can have 20 minutes. I don't
I
care.
don't debate
I
that
will
way.
mute up for 15, 20 minutes if you need it. Stop babying around it. I said I would give it to you. I said I will interrupt you if you are not addressing the question, dude. What is wrong with you? Are you okay?
So in a debate, typically it's not like 12 or 20-minute intervals. It would
What would
make
you
it
like? You said
okay.
7,
Go
and then
ahead
it
and
was 11.
so let
What
me
would you like?
speak
Which
quick
one is it? What
without
would you
being
like?
interrupted. Right?
I'm
Give
gonna
me like
I'm gonna
1
favor
minute.
you. What would you like?
Can I speak for 1 minute?
1 minute. Got it. 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute to your 12. Great. So in a real debate, they never do a format of like you get 12 minutes and then you get 12 minutes, or you get 20 minutes and you get 20 minutes.
Is this
The
part of your own
reason
minute?
okay, there you go. That wasn't a minute, bro. That was 20 seconds before you interrupted.
We're supposed to
You
debate, or
gave me
you wanna talk
20
about the
seconds.
subject?
Thank you. Thank you for the 20
I don't
seconds.
even think you remember what I was saying. Are you going to talk about the? I told you I would interrupt you if it's not about the subject. You're talking
No,
about how to debate now.
I'm talking to you about the debate parameters,
Your
which I think
minute,
is
your minute
important to
is for the
establish.
topic, not how to debate.
So so you don't want the parameters and rules.
No, you can make it fair.
You're
If
so
you say,
scared.
if you put on a timer and you
You
saw that
are
it was
so
7 minutes,
scared,
and you
man.
change it to 11. If you want 11 minutes, hey, bro, that was about 11 minutes. Can I get
Dude,
11
and
minutes?
I actually
Simple.
defended
Got it.
you
Yeah, get
against
you 11
Sam
minutes, bro.
Shamoon because I
But
thought
you
it was
asked for one. Now
unfair
you
that
have
he
1
kept
minute. If that's
interrupting
what you
you.
truly want.
But
You have 1 minute to go ahead and respond to what I was saying.
you're worse than Sam Shamoon.
Bro,
Holy,
are you
that
good,
is
Lou?
crazy.
Lou, do you want 1 minute to talk about how to debate, or do you want 1 minute to respond to what I said about the text on the
How could
screen?
I respond to 12 minutes of what you said? That's why debating, if you look at presidential debates and any debates, it's like 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Why? Because it makes debating actual claims more manageable and possible. Whereas if you gave 12
Got it.
minutes,
So
where do
you
I
admit
start? I mean, you made
that it's not
so
manageable
many.
for you.
Okay, so
Then
go ahead. You finish.
yeah, you will. You can simply ask me if you like, hey, you made a lot of points. Can we? You can ask. You can say, hey, can we set something up like maybe 2 or 3 minutes each where I can respond to it all? Because
I'm
you did have some
trying to
technical
do that,
difficulties.
dude.
Even Jay admitted it went out. So there were some things that may have been missed. I don't know, but you want to sit here and poke and prod at how you think I'm debating, but then tell me I'm losing the debate. Why don't you respond to
You
what
are
I'm saying?
losing.
Show that I'm losing. Show
You
I'm
are
losing
losing.
with responding to what I'm saying.
I've already called out your logical fallacies.
Okay,
I called
respond to
out
the
how
next thing I said. How's the next thing I said a logical fallacy? Do you want a
you're
minute
losing because you
or
interrupt
11
so
minutes? Which
much.
one do you
In a
want?
real debate, you would have been disqualified due to all your interruptions.
Do you want? No, because I'm running. This is my channel. I'm running it. What are you talking about? Do you want?
Then that's not a
Do
debate.
you want 1 minute,
That's
7
not what a
minutes,
debate
or
is. Do you
do
know
you
what a
want?
debate is?
I'm gonna mention all the time frames. Do you want 1 minute, 7 minutes, or 11 minutes? Those are all the ones that you mentioned, which clearly shows that you're making the shit up in your head because you don't even know how long you want. How long do you want? I'm giving you the opportunity to respond. I don't want to talk back and forth about how to debate. I'm giving you the opportunity to respond, even ample time. Do you want that time to respond, bro? Come on, man.
Let me see. Actually, I was able to identify a new logical fallacy. We haven't
Yes or no,
identified.
Lou?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yes or no, Lou? Yes
It's
or no, Lou?
impossible to debate you.
Yes or no, Lou? Do you want the same time? I
Wow.
will mute the mic.
This is how you do. This is your idea of a debate. Every time I try to talk, you
Lou,
interrupt.
Lou, do you want? You didn't answer. I asked you a question and you haven't answered it. You're talking about debate etiquette, but you're not even paying attention to nothing. I've asked
You're
you
incredible,
you're
man.
answering.
You
Do
really
you
do
want
argue
1
in
minute?
bad faith.
Do you want 1
really
minute,
do argue in bad
7
faith.
minutes, or 11 minutes? So that
I've
it can
asked
be
for
fair to
every
you.
time I've asked for 1 minute, you interrupted even 20 seconds
Dude,
into it. So
do
I
you
don't
want 1
know.
minute, 7 minutes, or 11 minutes to respond to the put forth about this verse on the screen? To the topic. Do you want to respond to the topic? 1 minute, 7 minutes, or 11 minutes? Which one, bro?
Sorry, man. I just can't. I can't debate with someone who doesn't know how. You interrupt constantly. You go on 12-minute
I'm not going to
tangents.
interrupt. I'm going to mute up.
There you go.
Once you say yes or no.
There you go. I mean, it's just impossible to debate with you. You interrupt constantly. I'm like
Dude,
scared to talk
do you
because
want
I
to
know I'm going
respond
to get
to the
interrupted.
topic, or do you want to have a discussion on how to debate?
Why don't you? You should research what a debate is. Look into it.
Dude, I promise you.
Understand what a debate is, what the purpose is.
I promise you, none of that
Basic debate
needs to be
etiquette.
discussed, bro.
Look into basic debate etiquette, and then
Dude,
let's have a debate when you're more ready
when
to
I'm
allow
more
the other side to respond without interrupting them.
This is
Let's have a
insane.
debate when to allow the other side to respond without
I think there's
interruptions.
something wrong with you, man. Are you okay?
And then, well, I can tell you there's something wrong with your idea of what a debate is, right?
I never said what I think a
Especially since
debate
you
is.
say it's my
What's my
platform,
idea
so
of
I
debate?
can mute you. That's not a debate. That's more hosting.
What's my idea of debate? I didn't say
That's
me
more
muting you is my idea of
hosting.
debate. What is
You're
my idea of
hosting
debate?
a seminar.
And this is what they do when they don't want to address the topic, guys. They just go off of ad hominem attacks about how you're doing something, who you are, what your character is. Stay
All
on
right, man.
topic, Lou.
I wish you all the
want to
best,
discuss the
man. Let
topic?
me know when you're ready to
Do you
debate
want to
like
discuss the topic?
the right way.
So you don't. So you're
Until
bailing,
then,
you're bailing out.
I
If you bail
welcome the
out, this is a win
debates
for me.
once you
If you
realize
bail out, this is a
that
win
you
for me.
have to allow the other side
If
to
you bail
speak.
out, this is a win for me.
That's how to debate. So
If you bail out, this is a win for me.
no, I've already destroyed you. What are you talking about? You've been destroyed. You're so scared you don't let me talk. You're so scared you don't want me to
I
talk, so
offered
you
you 11
interrupt.
minutes to talk
You
about the
run like
topic.
a
You kept
coward.
telling me
You
about how I'm
run
not
like
debating.
a coward.
Huh? Where are
You're
you?
petrified, man.
Where
You
are
are
you, man?
petrified.
Dude, are you good?
You're petrified. You run away.
Look. Hey, for the sake, look, for the
You
sake
argue in
for the
bad
sake of
faith.
argument, for the sake of argument, you can have it. You're right. Go ahead.
Mm.
Go ahead. You can have it. Get your 11. I'll give you 11 minutes. Say what you like. I'm gonna mute up. I don't care what you talk about. You talk about Barney if you want to, nigga. Go ahead.
Oh my God. I'm not gonna play your game, dude. I've realized how you debate. So that's not really how a debate is done. You have to, make a claim that's clear and then allow the other side to counterclaim, and then you can then address the counterclaim, move on to a new claim. What you do is you make several claims, and then when I start to respond to one of them, you interrupt, and then you go on a long tangent, bringing up a bunch of other claims that I have to respond to. We have to go one at a time. We cannot allow the arguments to get confused and convoluted, which is what I've noticed you do a lot. You go on a long tangent, you go for 12 minutes, and then you make so many points that I can't keep up with it, right? Like we have to go in a measured, organized way. So I think that for the next attempt we do at this, we should set some agreed upon parameters, okay? 1 minute, 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and kind of go that way where and I should be able to lay them down and have it sort of make sense. It's like A plus B equals C. Your claim is your claim was, for example, Pontius Pilate and the Jews did not want to kill Jesus, so therefore it wasn't God's plan for Jesus to die. I destroyed that argument. I made you look so dumb. You basically you're equating human intent with God's intent. Like are I'm actually kind of like I'm kind of I thought you were more intelligent. I didn't know you were at that level of just complete bad faith argumentation. For you to make that claim, I'm actually kind of appalled, and I'm starting to kind of feel sorry for you because you're clearly lacking like basic intelligence, man, about like what God is and who humans are. You're conflating the two. I think that you really need to have a new understanding of the Bible as a whole. You assume that since Jesus was troubled and asked to be saved, then he was trying to avoid the cross, okay? And that if the prophecy was true, that Jesus would feel no distress. That is a false dilemma. Just because there's human anguish doesn't mean there's a rejection of God's will. Okay, you need to read the passage carefully. John chapter 12, verse 27, Jesus says, "Now my soul is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. No, it is for this reason that I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." The key word is rhetorical contrast. He raises that question only to reject it. You're not reading the whole thing. He does not pray, save me. He says, why he will not. You're stopping mid-sentence and you're cherry picking verses from the Bible to serve an argument that has no logical standing. Okay, the text explicitly denies your conclusion. Jesus states it plainly. It is for this reason that I came to this hour. That sentence alone proves foreknowledge, acceptance, and purpose. You do not say, I came for this, and then try to escape it. So you make zero sense. I am absolutely decimating you, this argument. Your emotional distress actually confirms the prophecy, because in Isaiah 53, in Isaiah chapter 53, verse 3, it says the servant would be a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. That is a direct prophecy of Jesus. Jesus was a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, over the prophecy. And it was foretold all the way back in Isaiah 700 years before Jesus' existence. Psalm 22 describes anguish, fear, physical suffering. That trouble is predicted, not contradictory. If Jesus was calm and untouched, that would violate the prophecy. So the prophecy disagrees with you, the Bible, the text disagrees with you, the context disagrees with you. You're cherry picking parts of the text to meet an argument that has no rational or logical standing. Okay, and the thunder versus the voice proves divine witness. The thunder versus voice proves divine witness. It does not bring confusion. So some heard thunder, others heard a voice. And this happens elsewhere in the scripture. That's a supernatural event, and not everyone perceives revelation equally. So that does not undermine the message either. So basically, you create a false dilemma. Emotional distress from Jesus does not mean a rejection of God's will. And in John chapter 12, Jesus raises the question of escape only to reject it and affirm, quote, "It is for this reason I came to this hour." His anguish fulfills the prophecy. It does not contradict it. You are wrong. You're being destroyed. You're scared. That's why you interrupt me. That's why you go on long tangents. And I could say I said all that in much less time than you did.
All right, Lou, you're done. Yeah. Okay. So you blame me for making different points and going off script and all this, but you did the exact same thing that you blame me for. You made all these points. You talked about Isaiah, 700 years, this, all this other stuff that had nothing to do. By the way, Isaiah is a separate prophet, has a completely different thing, has nothing to do with me bringing up this, what's on the screen, my screen, as evidence. Google trying to explain your own arguments. It has nothing to do with what I brought up on screen to prove my point. I'll say it again for the layman. The Bible versus Christianity contradict each other in terms of the Christian tenets do not align with Jesus's words according to the scripture, right? According to the people who wrote the scripture, because you got to even go into that, the authorship and everything, which is another topic we can go into after this. But I started with saying John chapter 8, I'll say it again, verses 31 to 47. That was my main piece of evidence for my main point, which I told you in the beginning, that it's of Satan to seek to kill Jesus and therefore follow a religion that teaches you that the killing of Jesus was a good thing, that it was prophecy, that you're saying, oh, I'm destroyed because a bunch of men told me that it was okay for Jesus to die, that this sin it's okay for it to be, this is the only sin that we allow to be okay, only for Jesus. It makes no sense because you're using a false dichotomy, because now you're taking something that has always been a sin and now moving it into the category of something that's being good, prophetic, in order to substantiate the religion, not the scripture itself. You got to take the scripture in context, as I'm doing. You're not doing that because you jumped from here to somewhere else. You used Mark earlier. Now you went to Isaiah, and now you're like, dude, you need to focus on what I said. My claim, my initial thing asking you was, along with my other point that I made about Jesus speaking what he said would be signify his death. You still haven't said what that was, and you still didn't answer that, by the way. And then number one, you have not answered why you follow a religion where Jesus said seeking to kill him is of Satan. Why you will follow a religion where those who teach that it was not only successful, that it happened, and that it is the only way for you to understand salvation is by accepting the fact that there are those who sought to kill Jesus and made it happen. Why do you follow a religion where Jesus would have labeled that satanic? That was the initial thing said. We got off topic because you wanted to focus on how you thought I was debating, even though the rules that you admitted there were no rules earlier. Then all of a sudden, I'm not debating by the debate rules. Like you're not even consistent with what you say, bro. Like this is
Can I
insane.
say something? Can I
This is
say one thing?
insanity, dude. It's
Can I say
insanity.
one
It
thing?
really is,
Can I
Lou.
say, can I say
Please,
one thing?
please say
Can
it,
we,
please.
Lou, when I allow you to respond,
Hold on, let him
hold on,
talk, man.
spectator. No,
He
hold on,
hasn't said
spectator. Don't
anything.
interrupt
Let
me
him
for the
talk.
spectator. He said he wanted to be a spectator. That's what it's going to stay at. Or I'll mute
Okay,
you
but
both.
he's gonna say.
I'll
Let him
mute you
say
both.
something.
I'll mute you. I'll let him say it after I'm done. I'm still talking.
Nah, man, I'm out of here, bro. This
He said he'd
dude.
be a spectator. He can't just interrupt all of a sudden, and then you try to voice. You have a voice for him while you chew on whatever you're chewing on.
Hey, what were you gonna
Come on,
say?
man.
What were you gonna say?
Come on now.
Well, he made a point about how Jesus basically signifies his death twice, and then he mentions the verse. But look at even in his own Bible verse that he posted, it says Jesus reinstates Peter. Like I told you, he was talking about Peter, but of
Yeah.
course
No, it doesn't
he
say Jesus. It
misinterprets
doesn't say in the
everything.
Bible that Jesus
Look at he
Peter.
misinterprets
Misinterpret.
everything.
Hold
So
on,
then he's
Be
gonna take
quiet,
that.
bro. Be quiet. You got to be quiet, bro. It does not say in there that Jesus reinstates Peter. It doesn't say that in the Bible. It's crazy. You guys are insane. You guys are insane, dude. Literally just said it says it in the same verse. You guys are insane, dude. You guys are insane. You guys are insane. You know what? I'm not even going to comment. I'm not going to try to play this back and reiterate things that were said. I'm just going to end this right here. It's the chosen one, the guided one. The guided one, the chosen one. It's the man with a pitcher of water. I'm just going to let this play out. We're going to put this on YouTube and y'all going to see what it is. It's crazy to think that you won simply because you just reiterated what you think the tenets of the Christian faith are by your way of interpreting the scripture. Nobody cares what you think your religion is. Can you substantiate that Jesus dying for your sin is not satanic, which was my main point? Are you going to respond to that? It's even the message. I'll show you. I'll show you the messages on Instagram that I told him was going to be the topic, guys. Well, it wasn't on Instagram. Where did I put that? Was it in? Damn, I didn't put it on Instagram. It was on the beginning of this. It's in the description for this video. That's where I typed it in. John, debating John. It's in the title, guys. Debating John. Right up here. I'll show my screen. Watch this. I'll share my screen. I'll stop this screen 1 second, guys, and I'm gonna share my screen. This screen right here, and you're gonna see the topic. I'm not even changing it. I'm just gonna share my screen. Watch this. Watch this. Look above, guys. Look at my screen right here. What does that say? Debating John chapter 8, verses 31 to 37. Did he ever address that, guys? Anybody? Anybody who ends up watching this later, did he ever address it? Did I not go into further points about how, which was my main point, how the Christian faith is contrary to the things being said in the Bible when you can find scripture that does not align with the Christian tenets that would go against what was being said? Did I not give further points? And those points were consistent because each time it says Jesus signifying his death. What would death be? Surrounded killing. What was my first point? John chapter 8, verses 31 through 47 mentions them killing him. It's all consistent because he can't follow. Now all of a sudden I'm not in debate etiquette. Insane. Insanity. That's what I'm saying. This cognitive dissonance that this religion creates, bro. It's wild, dog. I'm not even going to go deeper. I'm not. I said I wouldn't. Let me just get out of here. Yo, it's chosen one guy, the one, the guy, the one that chose one. That was the man with the pitcher of water. Peace and love. Salam alaikum to all.